What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. So in today's Motorfest video, I'm actually going to take a look at the Frenetic perk. Now, I would say right now a lot of players are most likely running this perk right now because, well, it is probably one of the most used perks we actually use back in the crew too. Funnily enough, I always use this perk back then basically over everything else. Now, one thing I do admit though is it going to be better than Extra Pump? Well, from what I have seen, a lot of players are seeming to actually like it more than Extra Pump, so the current build right now is going to be Pure and Frenetic. But one thing I am also thinking about though is maybe it would actually be better to maybe run like 3 Frenetic perks, and then after that maybe have like 4 extra pumps, or like, maybe 4 Frenetics and 2 extra pumps or something like that. But who knows, maybe having like the best of each perk in there might be the better option. I would say right now though, Frenetic really is going to make a decent difference. Now we do know right now Pure is going to say increase nitro power by 5%. I'm also going to be making a separate video about Pure, but for Frenetic though, nitro power increases by 3% while in use, and then Pure is going to be increased nitro power by 5%, or like, the percentage you have unlocked. So I would say it's probably going to be something to where, yeah, you could probably have a lot more power while using your nitrous compared to using like Pure and Extra Pump. I also do want to apologize, by the way, for using a racing vehicle again. For some odd reason, I actually have an extra like full nitro chemist set for it, so I was like, you know what? Let's go on this and actually make Pure and Frenetic on this class there, because I already have an entire chemist set that's extra. Funnily enough, to get an entire Pure and Frenetic took around $250,000. Oh, but you know what? It's going to be cheaper because it's only 1,500. Well, if you multiply that by like 65 or 70, then yeah, you're going to be spending some money there, buddy. But regardless, though, testing out Pure and Frenetic is probably going to be a fairly great build, and even to this day, it might be one of the best ones. So when driving the Bugatti, guys, there's a few things I did want to go over with Frenetic. So number one, I'm not going to lie here, the best build on a drag car is going to be Pure and Frenetic. And I'm sure a lot of people might be like, well, why is that, Block? Like, why can't I just run something like Extra Pump and Pure? That would probably be the exact same thing. Now, while that may actually be true, Frenetic is going to have one big power over everything else. That is also going to add on more power to the nitrous when actually using it. So if you are running like the main perk there and the driver thing as well, that is only going to be a 4% boost on top of the 21%, given you are actually having all of these 7 parts with a max of 3%. So technically you're going to have a full of 25% of power. The other thing I did want to do is I actually wanted to go onto the highway here to actually test this out a bit more. That way I also can run into less things like vehicles and, well, pretty much everything else. Now, a few things about Frenetic, though, that I have been noticing when testing it out. So, yes, guys, normally on my builds I am running Pure and also Extra Pump. But I do have a feeling I'm most likely going to be experimenting with Frenetic on a bit more of these classes. Now, the main reason why I am, of course, using the main racing class here is because I have... Okay. In some ways that helped because I got back on the highway, but one of the main reasons why I am using the racing category is because I have so many chemist sets for it. Why? I honestly have no idea. But one thing I was noticing about Frenetic, though, is it really does increase your power tremendously when running it. If you're not actually using Frenetic and you are running something like Extra Pump, you probably have noticed, well, yeah, having Pure on there does help, and yes, having Extra Pump, you have more nitrous over time, or like, it is going to go up a bit faster if you aren't running it. But my goodness though, guys, having Frenetic on there really does give you so much dang power, and that's probably also going to come down to the fact of many people running it over that. Now, one of the reasons why I also run this on the drag class is, yes, you obviously are going to want to have the most power on a drag vehicle. Okay, you know what, guys? I figured it would actually be easier to jump back into a drag car and show you how fast Frenetic actually makes them. A lot of players might be like, well, yeah, Block, like, Frenetic might be good, but not running Extra Pump, I'm not going to have as much nitrous, which in ways is going to be true. Now, one way you could counteract this, as I mentioned earlier, you could most likely run like 2 or 3 perks on there with Extra Pump. Then the rest of them could be Frenetic to have like the power there, but not going to lie here, guys, having fully Frenetic on that vehicle is going to be a great option. And the reason for that is going to give you the sheer amount of power from that nitrous. Not even kidding right now, one thing I don't think a lot of players know, every single drag car in this game hits 430 miles an hour now, making them all faster than the ones in the Crew 2 before. So right now I'll show you guys this here. So check this out here, if no cars ruin it. 433 miles an hour there is absolutely insane. Okay, not trying to switch vehicles back and forth here, but I did end up going back into the Bugatti Bolide. So a lot of players might be wondering here, like, should I actually run Frenetic over Extra Pump? To be honest right now, guys, I would say for like pure power and actually having the most power out of that nitrous, I would definitely say that's going to be a yes. I'm also going to be doing more testing on this exact build in the summit, so jumping into like the Street Tier 2, the Street Tier 1, all those other classes, to really see if this really is actually going to be a better build. But from right now, my initial thoughts, I would say everybody is running it for a reason, and I can definitely see why. Okay, I should probably turn the world tags off so I don't keep doing that. But I can definitely see why a lot of players are talking about running Frenetic over Extra Pump. Don't get me wrong, guys, having Extra Pump is going to be great because, yes, you are obviously going to have your nitrous back a bit quicker. Funnily enough, though, having it active on there doesn't actually seem to be working as intended. While having Frenetic, though, it really does make you so much dang quicker. Like, this car gets up to 267 miles an hour like it's nothing. While not running Frenetic, you can actually see it's a bit slower, which I will show right now. Okay, so I did finally end up changing the parts around a bit after finally finding it. Also, why I really wish we actually had a loadout system. That way I could switch the parts around or, like, you know, add them to that vehicle and have them set up that way. But entirely different topic there. But nonetheless, though, guys, not having Frenetic active, this is now going to be with Extra Pump. You can see a slight delay there with the power. I never actually noticed this before without running it, but it is definitely going to be fairly noticeable. So let me get around this turn here. Then I can actually probably do like a full speed run. But even hitting the nitrous a bit though, yes, as I did mention, Extra Pump obviously helps, but my goodness though, having Frenetic on there, guys, is insane. You can tell it's going to take it a bit longer to actually get to 267, and my goodness, I legit cannot drive. Let's go off-road a Bolide. Yay, that's what I totally had in mind. Not, oh look, a taxi. So after running Frenetic, though, you can definitely tell that, yes, you are going to get to your higher speed a bit quicker. Funnily enough, though, I never actually noticed this before when not running it. I did actually use it a lot in the Crew 2 back in the day because I really did like it. Back then, though, I also did have, like, mixed up parts and stuff to have, like, the best of everything. I'm also realizing now that you don't necessarily have to have a perk active. The reason for that is going to come down to, like, the driver perks on your helping, and having, like, that extra percentage from the Affix Stats might not actually make a difference. Overall, though, guys, I would definitely recommend, wow, this is not how I wanted to drive today. But overall, though, I would definitely recommend trying out a pure and Frenetic build on your vehicle and see if you actually like it more than only having, like, Extra Pump and pure. I have to admit, guys, right now, Frenetic really is going to be incredibly good. And yes, you might not be getting your nitrous as quick as, like, having a full Extra Pump build, but I really do think having more power in that nitrous is not only going to make you a lot faster in many of the summits, it's also going to make you a lot faster in many different areas, to where you might actually be a bit slower compared to having Extra Pump on your vehicle.